Okay, this is 2 abductions I had around July of 2013. And at the time, I didn't realize they were the same ones by Joel, the reptilian being that I named Joel. I didn't figure that out, that he kept coming to give me experiences. It took me a while to figure that out, that he just kept coming to give me experiences over and over again. And I'm sure he probably gave me experiences even years and years and years ago. Because in 2004, I'm not sure if that was Joel that gave me that experience, but it was a reptilian. Well, no, it probably wasn't him, because it was a reptilian with wings. So yeah, it wasn't him. But I'm sure Joel just didn't decide to, show up in my life, a few years ago. I'm sure he's always been there. But yeah, they've been giving me these experiences, these out-of-body experiences, and some of them are ass backwards out-of-body experiences. But yeah, they've been giving me lucid dreams and all of that all my life. But okay, so the first abduction, and Joel really does look like similar to this right here. He had knobs on his face, and he's kind of rogue. He looks, he's kind of slender, at least he appears to be kind of tall and slender, but not real tall, like maybe 6'1" maybe, or 6'2", but kind of slender. But of course, who knows what he really looks like, because, these beings, they never show themselves totally. Well, I mean, some of them will show their face totally clear to me. But a lot of these reptilians, it's like they know they're little demons, so it's like they don't ever want to show their face, or they try not to show their face really, really clear to you. But yeah, I mean, some of them have, a lot of them have shown themselves to me. When I would talk to them, and I would close my eyes, they would show themselves to me. A lot of beings will show themselves to me like that. But in the abductions, it's in the abductions that they, a lot of them don't really, they have a problem just, showing themselves really clearly. A lot of them will try to hide their face and stuff. But yeah, I mean, a lot of them don't mind showing themselves to you. But in the abductions, or at least in my case, in the abductions, they kind of like to try to hide their face and cover up their face and stuff. But, so let me think. Okay, so the first abduction, and like I say, at the time, after I woke up and everything, it took me a few days to realize that that was that was an abduction, or that was an out-of-body experience, because sometimes, like, you don't feel them pull you out of body, and so at that time I think I just thought it was a lucid dream, and then I realized later that that was actually an abduction, maybe an ass backwards abduction, because lots of times at that time I didn't realize they were pulling me out while awake. They were taking my astral body. I mean, I knew I was feeling all these sensations, like I was going out of body while awake when I'd lay down in bed. And they use that. And then once you go to sleep, they can, basically give you an out-of-body experience with that. And so this is what this was, an ass backwards abduction, this first abduction. The second abduction was a little different. Okay, so this first abduction. So anyway, the reason why I know Joel has knobs on his face was because I felt his face when he pulled me out of body a couple years ago at the foot of my bed. I felt his face. And then I got a somewhat glimpse of him in that one abduction where he turned me into a hermaphrodite, which he has done many, many times. I got a slight glimpse of him, and he looks a little more human looking than that picture right there. But he looks similar to him, though. Similar, but just a little more human looking. And like I say, he's not real big. He's not real wide and brawny. But yeah, he's kind of rogue. Like, he's not that animalistic looking, this picture I found. Okay, so, and like I say, at the time, I didn't know it was the same being that just kept coming and giving me these abductions over and over again. Because he abducts me in many rogue ways, and he likes to intimidate. He likes to get me off sexually in the abductions. He likes to bully me. Yeah. And he treats me like a cat on a mouse, me being a mouse. Okay, so the first abduction, and like I say, I started thinking, after I realized it was Joel, after I named the being Joel that just kept coming to give me abductions, I started thinking back at these two abductions from 2013, around July, and I do believe these two abductions was by Joel. There's a lot of other abductions that I've had by winged beings. And there's this one being that definitely has wings, and he's given me more than one abduction too. I haven't talked about those yet. Okay, so this first abduction, okay, he placed me in, okay, he took me out of body. He placed me in a cave. And now that I realize it, he was going in my brain, and he was getting that information from when I've been to the cave many times at Silver Dollar City. And, yeah, so I have no doubt. And, at Silver Dollar City, they make various things. You can go up to little shops. They'll be making taffy, or they'll be making, well, I've never seen them make gold. But they make taffy, or like wood things, or fudge, or popcorn. So see, it took me a while to figure that out, too. He took that bit of information in my brain and used it for my abduction. Because in 2007 was the last time I've been to Silver Dollar City, but I did not go into the cave then. It was years before. The last time I've been into the Marvel Cave was several years, probably even, I think actually, well, it was several years before 2007. But I've been into the cave many, many times. What is this, 2015? Yeah, it's probably been at least 10 years since I've been in or a little longer since I've been in the cave. The Marvel Cave at Silver Dollar City. But he used that bit of information, I have no doubt. It took me a while to figure that out. Okay, so he plopped me into this cave. And he was using his technology to sort of drain my energy, although it did not transfer over to the physical body. Back 20 years ago, I haven't talked about that yet. Back 20 years ago, they did some rogue things. I mean, I don't think Joel was involved, but it was a bunch of other mean reptilians that did some things back in 1994. But I haven't talked about that yet. But he's also done this. The reptilians have done this many, many times in my lucid dreams, abductions, virtual reality experiences. Like, you'll be trying to walk along, and they'll just make you so weak, and it's like, ugh, like you just can't walk. You try to walk, and it's like, ugh, you just can't. Like, you have no energy. And okay, so anyway, he placed me into the Marvel Cave, basically. And it was huge. And yeah, in real life, this cave is freaking huge. I think it's one of the biggest ones, at least in the United States. This Marvel Cave is. Not the biggest one in the world, but I think in the United States, it's one of the biggest ones. The Marvel Cave. And it's freaking huge. And he placed me in this huge cave. I mean, steep, 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 steep. I mean, very tall. Tall, huge cave. I mean, I couldn't even see the top. It was so big. And I was going up an incline. I was walking up an incline. There was a lot of other people ahead of me. Okay, so I was walking up an incline, and I was with my sister, my niece, my mom, and Tyler, my nephew. Tyler, my niece, my mom, my sister, and me. And yeah, and even in the Marvel cave, even in the move, Bobby. Even in the Marvel cave, you know, you walk up some little inclines. Actually, and you got to walk down steep stairs. And man, it's been such a long time. But yeah, if you have heart conditions and shit like that, they'll tell you not to go into the cave, because like I say, you do have to walk up, you know, inclines and some steep inclines. And so yeah, so he placed me in the cave, and I was kind of walking up a slight incline, and it was just like a cave. I mean, the ground was, you know, that dirty, hard. You know, just like a cave. I mean, it was totally realistic. Okay, so, and then I was trying to, like, walk, and I just, like I just barely could even walk. Like, I had no energy trying to walk up this incline to get, you know, I was just walking through the paths of the cave to get to the little shops and stuff that led into a mall. Okay, so anyway, Tyler was with me, my sister, my mom, and who else did I say? Oh yeah, Lindsay, my niece. And finally, I was walking, trying to walk anyway up the incline of the cave, the path. There was a lot of people that, you know, went ahead of me, a lot of people, you know, that were also, you know, taking a tour of the cave and going to the little shops and stuff. Actually, the mall, it was like the shops were in the cave. And this mall was also in the cave. Of course, in real life, you know, there's not a mall in that cave. And there's not any shops, you know, in that cave. But in the abduction, that's how he made it. And, like I said, this isn't the first time he's, you know, under abductions and stuff. He'll freaking, like, he'll piss me off in my abductions and, like, make me try to cuss at somebody. And then he'll freaking, like, suppress my speech where I can't yell with their technology and stuff. Or you'll be trying to play baseball or trying to shoot a basket, and they'll make you where you just can't, like you can't shoot it, you can't kick the ball, you can't hit the ball. Yeah, he's done that many of times under my abduction. I didn't know they were, you know, it was aliens, you know, screwing with me all that time. Okay, so anyway, so finally, he abandoned me. My family abandoned me. And I was like, shit, where's Tyler and Chrissy and my mom and Lindsay? They all started walking really fast ahead of me. I mean, like, really fast. Like, they were just trying to do it on purpose. Like freaking abandon me there in the fucking cave. You know what I'm saying? And Joel has done this many times. He freaking abandons me. And then it's like I'm freaking out, you know, don't know where the fuck I am, and, you know what I mean? He probably does that shit because I did kind of have problems when I was younger, you know, like when I was 5 years old in kindergarten. Like, I didn't want my mom to leave me, you know. I only had to go to school till noon then. See, they know everything about you, and, you know, they'll freaking bring all that shit out in your abductions and shit. You know what I'm saying? Or, like, they'll even do this. Like, if they know, you don't like a lot of hair, and they know you, like, shave your shit. You know what I'm saying? You shave your pubic hairs and stuff. Well, like, they'll give you a lucid dream, or an abduction, and, you know, and then they'll, like, do sexual things, and you'll look at your, you know, your private part, and there'll be this, like, be all this, like, hair, you know, because they're just, like, they like to make fun, they like to mock and shit like that. And they like to tease. Okay, so anyway, I was trying to walk up this incline, it curved uphill to the right, back down, uphill, to the left, and then I cocked my head over to the right when I was in the cave, and there I saw Lindsay and Tyler, and everybody was just running real fast, or not running, they were walking really fast to get away from me, like they were trying to abandon me on purpose. But it was just a reptilian being that made them do that. And so, and then I realized I was like all alone and I didn't know where they were. Okay, and so finally I walked around to the right, back down the incline and back up the incline to the left, back up the little incline of the cave over to my right. There was a little shop. I mean, small little, not really a shop, just a little area where this guy was showing me how he shines gold. And this is not the first time he's put gold in my abductions. And yeah, there was that other abduction I had about a year ago. Well, no, less than a year ago, about 9 months ago, and I haven't talked about that one yet. 9 months ago, he presented me with gold, and he did the exact same thing. He made it look all shiny and beautiful, exactly like this. And then when I looked closer at it, he dingied it up. It dingied up. And he did the same thing in this abduction, or ass backwards abduction. So anyway, there was this white man. And actually, he normally puts black people in my abductions. But, I've never, ever seen any black workers at Silver Dollar City. But it was a white man, and he was really, really nice. And he looked about 50. And so I stopped off. My family had already abandoned me. I stopped off at this little shop. No, not a shop, just this little booth, basically. A little booth over to my right. And he was looking down, and I was looking at this piece of square, actually it was rectangle gold. And it was about, 1 inch thick by about 3 inches by 6.5 inches, or 3.5 inches by 6.5 inches wide, or long, and about 1 inch thick. And I was looking down at it, or looking down at the gold, and he was taking a cloth, and he was using some kind of liquidy stuff to shine the gold. And half of it was already, he was, shining half of it. Half of it was already super pretty and bright, just like this gold right here. Really bright and beautiful. And then the other half was dingy, because he was showing me, like how he shined it. So one half was beautiful gold, and the other half was still dingy because he hadn't shined it yet. Okay, so after that, I walked farther on the paths until I reached a little apartment. And of course, I used to live in apartments and stuff. And this apartment, it was not familiar to any apartment I ever lived in at all. But anyway, it was like this little apartment was also in the cave that was sort of attached to the mall that was also in the cave, inside the cave. We were underground inside this cave. So I stopped off at this little apartment. And they don't do this very often, the beings, but sometimes they actually can make you really scared. They can actually make you feel fear and stuff. But they don't do that very often. Okay, so in this abduction, in this apartment, I was by myself, and it seemed like it was, there was the kitchen, the living room. I don't remember seeing any bedrooms, but it was probably, like 600 square feet. And it seemed like it was just rectangle. And there was the big kitchen, and then the big living room, and then like the front door or whatever. And anyway, and I was about to walk to the front door, out the door, and the whole time I was walking around in the little apartment. For whatever reason, I remember that was my apartment. I was actually renting that apartment. It was my apartment, but for whatever reason, I wanted to hurry up and get out of there and go to the mall. Well, I know why I wanted to get out of there, because I knew, here's what the deal was. For some reason, I knew the aliens were about to show themselves, and in physical form. They were about to show themselves to me, like in physical form. And I was scared. and for some reason I was scared because I knew that they would probably do something to me. So, yeah, so I was walking around my apartment. It was basically my apartment. And, so anyway, but they were about to appear in the kitchen area. And I felt scared. I mean, I literally felt fear in this abduction. I felt, some fear. And I just remember thinking, okay, I need to get out of here. Okay, so finally I went out the front door and I went into a mall. And this isn't the first time he's placed me in a mall. And back in 2004, for whatever reason, they tampered with my brain so I would go out of body every day for like years and years and years. And I realize now it was them that made me do that. I thought I was astral traveling because I had this, ability to do it, which I do have the ability to do it, but they have to give me the ability. And I thought I was kind of totally in control, and now I realized I wasn't. They were taking me to all these places, to the heaven realm, and one time they took me to hell, and they were taking me to all these places. Most of the time, they took me to the heaven realms. At least I thought they were the heaven realms. And this isn't the first time they placed me in a mall where back in 2004, this woman walked by and she looked at me. I thought she was a spirit. And she looked at me all robotically, and then she walked on she was going left. She walked by me going left as they plopped me down in this mall. Back in 2004, I was in a mall. She was walking by me to the left, and I shoved her, and she looked at me like a robot and then walked on. And now I realize that really wasn't a spirit, and now I realize that probably really wasn't the heaven realm. Well, actually, I mean, I guess it still can be. I mean, it's all infinity. So, I mean, if you're in that dimension, and all the dimensions they ever took me to, I mean, it felt like pure freaking heaven. But now I realize I don't really know if it was heaven, and I don't really believe that was really a spirit, if you know what I'm saying. That was back in 2004. So, yeah, they repeat the same themes over and over again. So, in this mall, Joel, I was walking around by myself. My family had already abandoned me. I was walking around by myself, down the mall. And then there was a lot of other people, too, walking around. And then Joel, he just kind of walked up to me and kind of nudged up against me. I mean, his face touching my face. And he had this big old black, like, hose mask on. It was almost like a hose or something. Like a black hose. And, of course, he wasn't... he normally puts black people in my abductions, but like I say, he was sort of like posing as a black apparition or whatever, but no, this wasn't a black person. This was him. This was him trying to bully me. He didn't say anything to me, but he had this black freaking hose over his face. And he was just kind of, kind of nudging me and bullying me. And like I say, he didn't talk to me, but it was kind of sort of like, his energy, I could read his body language, and his body language was telling me kind of like, like he was bullying me, you know what I'm saying? He was totally bullying me. Okay, so that basically was the end of that abduction. Okay, so on to the second abduction. So yeah, see what I mean? He's always trying to cover up his face and shit. And well, kind of interesting how he chose to put a black hose over his face. That was the first time he's ever done that. And as far as I remember, it seemed like he had a big old... his whole body had like some kind of black cape on. But okay, so on to the second abduction. This was kind of fast, but it's pretty cool. Okay, so the second abduction... okay, he literally came to my bedroom, asked ethereally, energetically, maybe a little more than ethereally and energetically, but I doubt very seriously he didn't manifest as completely physical. They don't have to. And, so he leaned down at the foot of my bed. and this was probably about 4 o'clock in the morning. He pulled me out. Of course, they have to grab you at that perfect timing. I mean, totally at the perfect timing. They got to grab you at that perfect timing. That split second, or a couple split seconds before I fall asleep. And that's, of course, how I always went out of body back in 2003, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so he pulled me out slowly. I mean, just very gently, very slowly. He pulled me out, just slowly, gently, out of body. And so I was facing east. My bed was facing east. And so when I went out of body, he took me to his dimension. I guess you could call it the fourth dimension. And it was almost like we were dropping, we were falling in a cave. He was facing me. He was probably about 5 feet away from me, or maybe 6 or 7 feet away from me, staring at me the whole time. We were in pitch blackness because before you actually get to the dimensions where everything lights up, just like 3D, where everything lights up, there's a lot of blackness in between dimensions, you know, blackness in between all the dimensions. And there's a lot of blackness you have to travel through before you get to hell. Before, you know, everything brightens up and turns dusk once you get to the hell. And it's a long ways down there, too. Okay, so Joel, he gently pulled me out of body. It was a total freaking blast. And I was facing east. He was facing me about 7 feet away. And we were descending. We started descending. And it was almost like we were just in this big old black, quiet cave. But of course, you know, it wasn't a cave. We were actually in the fourth dimension in the blackness part. Black, I don't know what you call it. The void part. Black void. I don't know what the hell you call it. But yeah, before you get to any dimension that brightens up, you know, you have to travel through blackness for a little while. So anyway, I think he was trying to intimidate me. I think he was trying to act like he was about to take me to hell. He was trying to intimidate me. So anyway, so we were descending pretty slowly. Like at about probably about 8 miles an hour, very slowly. I mean, it feels so awesome to be out of body, just be floating. It's such a blast. So he abducted me. We descended at about 8 miles an hour in pitch blackness of the fourth dimension. And like I say, he was trying to intimidate me, acting like, you know, I'm going to take you to hell. Because at that time, I had already been abducted by a mean reptilian, where we descended at like 200 miles an hour, and he tried to take me to hell. Except a light warrior, ET, intervened and captured me and saved me from him. Okay, so I think he was just trying to intimidate me, because Joel likes to do that. Okay, so anyway, so after many minutes of descending, I telepathically asked him, I was like, can I do backflips and forward flips? And he said yes. So I did me a backflip, and I did me a forward flip. And then after that, I swam to the right, you know, because when you're out of body, you can do anything. I swam to the right, like sprawling my arms out to the right, and then I came back to my position. No, that I did not ask him if I could do that. I did that on my own. And then I came back to my normal position, you know, where he was facing me again, staring at me. And then, of course, I had my eyes open the whole time. But like I say, we were in the black part of the fourth dimension. And, you know, like I said, you got to bypass this blackness part before you get to all the bright dimensions, or the dim dimensions, like in, you know, in hell, which is very dim and dusk. And so anyway, after I descended several more seconds, he blurted out the exact replica song of what I had on my cell phone, the ringtone. He blurted out the song, the exact song from my from my ringtone on my cell phone by DJ Dean. and Dreamworld, but he edited it to say Dreamland. And when they could go into your brain, you know, and pick anything in your brain, and you know, with their technology, they can stick it in your abductions. I mean, it sounds exactly the exact same song. Yeah, they have a lot of technological abilities. So anyway, he decided to blurt out, which was it's very appropriate for this situation. And it was very appropriate to edit it to say Dreamland instead of Dreamworld, because, you know, down in hell, you know, at the bottom of the pit, it's more like land. It's more like a land, you know, than a world. So it's kind of interesting. So anyway, he blurted out the exact replica of my ringtone that I had on my cell phone for many, many months. He put it in this abduction and he blurted it out. And I can play it real quick. I already played it once at the beginning of this this video, but here it is. Here's the part. It started right here, this exact replica I had of my song. I mean, on my cell phone. This exact replica, it started right here. Okay, and then he played it for like 10 or 15 seconds. Yeah, he played it for about 10 or 15 seconds, and I guess that's about how long it was on my cell phone, about 15 seconds. That exact replica part. Except he edited it to say Dreamland instead of Dreamworld. And oh my God, I don't know how they do it, because I mean, they can edit anything and it just flows right along with the song. I mean, with no mistakes. They can edit anything, any words, and it just, I mean, you can't even tell. I mean, of course, I'm very attuned to the words, so I knew that this isn't the first time that they edited a song and blurted it. I noticed back in 2012, they started communicating to me by songs. Well, they've probably been doing it all my life. But I wrote all the songs down that they communicate to me with. You know, they just do it, you know, for shits and grins. You know, they like, you know, which is very, very, it's very clever. You know, I mean, they're just playing with me. You know what I'm saying? It's very clever that they take all these 1980s, 1970s songs and 1990s songs and communicate, you know, to me. It's very, very clever. But I wrote all the songs down. Well, there's still probably about 40 that should be on there that aren't on there, that I didn't grasp and forgot when I, you know, became awake and got conscious or whatever. But yeah, so they haven't given me a song in a while. Actually, the past couple of songs I didn't write them down. But yeah, I'm gonna have to. They've been kind of quiet lately. But yeah, so anyway, but they can edit the songs too, to their liking, and you can't even tell. I mean, it flows together. I mean, so awesome. Just like, see, this actual song says Dreamworld, but he edited it to say Dreamland. And like I said, I don't know how they do it, but it's awesome. So anyway, of course, it's all quiet in this dimension as we're descending. I mean, it's peaceful. Very quiet, and then all of a sudden he blurts out this freaking song by DJ Dean, blurted it out at me, and I was like, oh shit, he's trying to take me to hell. I didn't say it verbally, I was thinking it in my head. I was like, shit, he's trying to take me to hell. I need to get back in my body. Thought fast. And I was thinking that in my head after he blurted that song out to me. For some reason, when he blurted out the song to me, I thought he was gonna take me to hell. For whatever reason, I thought he was trying to scare me. And so anyway, I already, like, I don't know, maybe he was trying to teach me how to get away from a mean reptilian. You know, maybe he was trying to teach me, hey, if you ever get abducted by a mean reptilian, this is how you get away from them, you know? Maybe he was trying to teach me that. But anyway, I already knew to just flick them. I mean, like I say, and sometimes they can communicate to you and make you do things, and you don't really know it, though. So he could have sort of been telling me, hey, all you got to do is flip your arms back. He already told me that in that one abduction pertaining to the black-eyed adult. I already told about that story in another video. Yeah, but that time I knew he was talking to me. But this time, you know, I didn't sense that he was talking to me and telling me to flick my arms back. And that's all I had to do was just flip my arms back and tell myself to get back in my body, my physical body, and I would. So anyway, after he blurted out the song to me, I was like, oh shit, you know, he's trying to take me to hell. I need to hurry up and get back in my body. And so then I just flinged my arms back, and 2 seconds later, I was back in my physical body. And then, of course, I woke up and I was like thinking, well, fuck, man. I was thinking, you know, that was, I mean, I could have had more fun. I felt like I chickened out. And I was like, man, I could have had more fun, you know, if I didn't chicken out, because I don't know for a fact that he was trying to take me to hell. But, you know, I felt like I chickened out. I mean, I felt like I could have had some more fun. I mean, I'm sure he still could have taken me to other dimensions that weren't, you know, like the hell dimension. But, so anyway, I kind of felt like I chickened out. And, so I was kind of disappointed when I got back in my body, because, you know, but you know, I realized but like I say, at first I realized, you know, I was kind of disappointed that I thought I chickened out and I could have had more fun, because I didn't really know for a fact that he was trying to take me to hell. But, you know, I realized later that he totally concocted everything to exactly be like that. You know, because, you know, he concocted everything. He made it, the whole abduction, exactly like that. And for me to get back in my body and fling my arms back, he already made it like that. You know, he controlled everything. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool. My reptilian beings that play with me, they don't really have an agenda. They just like to... They like getting you off. They like doing things sexually to you, and they're voyeurists too. And but they don't often just take you and have intercourse with you, because that would be like rape. You know what I'm saying? And so they're actually kind of respectful like that. If I ask for intercourse, yeah, they'll give it to me. I've asked for that and I've gotten it. But they're just not gonna, you know. Unless they're a really, really vicious reptilian, they're not just going to take you and have intercourse with you astrally, because they know that that's not exactly appropriate. But they will get you off with their mental mind magic. They'll get you off at a distance with their technology. You know, they'll just bam, get you off. They'll just make you climax, just bam, like that, with their technology or whatever. But yeah. So shit, I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, oh, I know what I was going to say. Yeah, so these beings, they don't really have an agenda. They like to play. So if you want to play with them, then try to talk to them. Just stare at a picture of one and try to talk to them. If you already know how to go out of body, then you can try to connect to some of these beings, and they'll take you on out-of-body experiences. It's fun. You know, there's some reptilians, some greys that have an agenda with me, yeah, that are freaking physically abducting me, and they block my memory, you know, 80%. But yeah, most of these beings I have all these out-of-body experiences with, I mean, they don't have an agenda. They're just playing with me. They like to play. So yeah, so anybody can try to get attuned to their beings. I'm just more reptilian myself, so I like dabbling with the reptilians, and I'm pretty sure I come from some kind of bloodline, reptilian bloodline. But and I know I was a male reptilian in my past life. I haven't talked about that yet. So I totally resonate with the reptilians. But I mean, other species, like Nordics and stuff, I don't know if they like to give you out-of-body experiences, like all these other races and stuff. I don't know if they do. I know the Greys love it. They love doing that to me. The reptilians love it. I don't know about any other species, if they like to take you on consistently out-of-body experiences. I mean, the reptilians love doing it. And some of the Greys love doing it for shits and grins. But still, you know, they're pretty much in control because, you know, I've been talking to them out the ass. And they haven't been coming to my bedroom and taking me out of body. The last one I had like that, well, the last one I had like that was just a few months ago, but I'm not really counting that one. The ones that I'm really talking about, the last time was the end of last March. But like I said, a few months ago I had that experience where that reptilian, he just fastly zoomed into my bedroom, pulled me out of body while awake. I was just barely maybe groggy. I was totally awake, and he pulled me out of body real fast and took me. And I did a backflip astrally. I did a backflip in my bed, and I knew he just took me. I heard a whoosh, and I knew he just took me. And I was like, well, shit. Why is my freaking consciousness still in my physical body? And I'm not counting that time, but that was when he gave me an ass backwards abduction. Not Joel. This was a different being. He gave me an ass backwards abduction. He took my astral body while awake, and then he used it for a virtual reality experience after I fell asleep. And he made me have passionate, you know, sex basically with this friend of mine. Well, it wasn't really sex. It was just heavy petting and stuff. But I'm not counting that time. But what I'm talking about, where they like to come to Joel especially likes to stand or lean at my bedside and pull me out. And so, yeah, he hasn't done that since the end of last March. But they can still do stuff at a distance from their own dimension. They can kind of dip down into this dimension and give you virtual reality experiences. They can still kind of give you an experience from their dimension and dip down into this dimension. So, anyway, because I think it could have been Joel that gave me that sexcapade a couple months ago. Or no, the end of October. It was the end of October when he gave me that sexcapade. Okay, well, I was actually talking to him, and I was like, do you want to come give me some sex? And it probably was Joel, I have no doubt. But he didn't come to my bedroom and pull me out of body. He just kind of, from his own dimension, dipped down into this dimension, I guess my implant or whatever, and gave me a virtual reality experience. That was more like a virtual reality experience, not like an astral abduction where they actually come to your bedroom and whatever. Sometimes it's kind of hard to explain. So yeah, so as far as actually the beings coming to my bedroom, and like I say, Gray also came to my bedroom and pulled me out. And that was all at the end of last March. And I've been talking to them like, hell, like when are you going to come to my bedroom and pull me out and give me those kind of abductions? Or what about those winged beings that would like whip down and whip me out of the top of my head? Those abductions I haven't talked about yet. But there used to be this being that had wings, and he would like zoom down real fast into my bedroom and just whip me out at the top of my head, fling me out at the top of my head. My whole astral body. Just yeah, they're very fast, and they can take me out of body in many, many different ways. Sometimes they nudge me out, sometimes they pull me out. Sometimes sometimes they can just kind of pill you out. I had a being that just sort of just pilled me out of body. Literally just pilled me out. And like I say, some of the ones with wings, they don't stand at the foot of your bed like Joel does. Like I say, Joel is a little more human-like, with knobs on his face. And he's slender. But Some of the bees with wings, they literally just fly down into your bedroom like, and then they just whip you out. Zip you out at the top, your whole astral body through the top of your head. Yeah, so there's many ways they can take me out of body. They all have their own little preference on how they do it. It's really cool. Okay, so those were my 2 abductions by Joel about 2 years ago. Or how long ago was that? A little more than 2 years ago, I guess. Okay, well, thanks for listening.